Hi everyone, welcome to the very first episode of Dollars, Dreams and Diapers. Today we're going to talk about how the three of us actually threw a lot of money on a startup journey that did not work out. Okay, so here I have here with me Timothy as well as Kayla. I'll let them introduce themselves to you.
Hi guys, I'm Timothy Gan, the founder of Think Math. We provide mathematics, tuition classes and online courses.
My name is Caleb. I am the founder of masterpoa.com, an online accounting school.
Okay, so for this episode, we're going to start off by talking about our startup journey, how we come to meet and what was the idea that we had. So Timothy, can you share with us how the three of us come together to start this startup?
I think this was like in 2018. This is very early in my tuition career. I think this was my second year coming out. So then at that point of time, I remember moving into a unit next to Eugene's. So we on a frequent basis, we will actually share notes and just discuss ideas. So at that point of time, we were trying to, especially for mathematics, I think I was already trying to digitize some of my content online for my students. So try to create like an online portal for my students. So then I see that Eugene is doing the same thing. Then I just ask him and all. Then we keep talking. Then we keep sharing. Then we realize, hey, actually, this guy is trying to do something similar. We're trying to do something similar. Then I'm like, hey, maybe you should try and talk to. I got this friend. Can I say relative of mine? It's actually my relative. I say this relative of mine. You should talk to him. See, so I just link both of them out, and then we sort of like came together and talked about it, right? Yeah.
Okay, so Caleb, so can you recall like what was the kind of chemistry that we had when we first met?
Oh, it's interesting. At that time, we were already filming and launching our online portal in the classroom. So we were testing our content, and then by the time we met, it was like a bromance. We'd be talking about all sorts of things from content development for the small screen to delivery to marketing and how do we make it something worthwhile for our students to consume the content. We are basically spending hours, right, talking about these ideas and exchange. There's a lot of exchange between the three of us,
correct.
right? Whether it's the learning management system, the how to deploy in a hybrid modality, and then the content is built for personalized learning, for students. It was fantastic looking at back, because I think at that point in time, this is still before the pandemic, and then we were already at the forefront in this area.
Yeah.
So the startup idea that we had, right? Anyway, our startup was called Leva, L-E-V-A-R. Okay, so for this startup that the three of us collectively worked on, right? Our idea was very simple. So we felt that education, you had very different kind of pricing. So you had very cheap tuition fees, and you have the other end very high expensive tuition fees. But in general, what we were trying to do is that we wanted to provide quality education at affordable prices, and we started to brainstorm how to go about doing that. So we came up with this idea that there is this 60, 30 and 10 model. So 60% of anyone's education journey should be delivered by a master tutor via lectures. 30% right of the education should be delivered by AI / small group tutorial style. So what we wanted to do was to actually generate an app, program an app to be able to actually get students to do worksheets. Right now, at this point in time, there are a lot of companies doing that. So it might sound like, wow, this is like very used, very already out there kind of idea. But back then in 2018, right, this was brand new. I don't think there were many other companies doing that as well. So the companies that were doing that in 2018 with us, right, they became relatively well known today. So I'm not gonna name names, but I think they're doing pretty okay. Right, so one of the ideas that we had was to actually have AI generate worksheets, and these worksheets, right, they mutate, right, they based on the strengths and weaknesses of the students, right? So if a student was weak in a specific area, then they will be automatically fed questions, right, that will help them improve in a specific area. And then 10% of the final journey is to be done on a kind of one-to-one basis for the really weak topics that you need kind of one-on-one help. Okay, so that is kind of like an outline of the idea that we had, and we started working on it in 2018.
Yeah.
But do you remember when we started working in 2018, how was the journey like? Maybe you start with Tim. You want to share what you felt the journey was like for you?
I felt a bit because I was new to the industry, so everything was new to me. So I think I'm learning at a very fast pace. It's sort of like you know, learning how to set a website, learning how to you know, a lot of things like, because being a tutor is one thing, but then learning how to think, to price a product, what kind of how to create a product, and then, you know, like whether the market wants it or not, then how to work with a team and so on. So it was a steep learning curve for me, but I don't think that I think especially so for me, then because they're in the industry they're way longer than me. Then I think at the start I was like very I was struggling. Yeah, this is to be fair.
I think the main thing is difference between running a small business versus starting up.
Yeah.
It's a totally different game, because you need to talk about fundraising, getting angel investors, how you do.
Yeah.
We had a big conversation about equity.
Correct. I think then that was like
Yeah.
I was like, okay lah. Then I totally understand. Yeah, equity part. Yeah. We have a big concept of equity. Yeah, so I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and we had our own setup running. We were not like we are like the subject expert for each of our areas.
Yes.
So and then coming together and working on a new thing gives you another layer of complexity of manage all that happening at the same time. Finding technical CTO, you know, somebody that can piece all the tech together, or lead in an area, you know. Yeah, that was a big one.
After we came together, I think there was this period. I don't know. Was it in 2018? Someone the guy who left Temasek tried to jail us one. Was it that one? Was after or before?
That was
2019.
2019. It was one of the early meetings we had.
Oh,
in fact,
right.
just here. Yeah.
So actually, there are quite a few. Like, I think there's one. Then after that, there are a few who are actually trying to get us into their ecosystem, I think. Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. So then after that, trying to understand what is the value exchange. I think that's something which was very impressionable to me.
So we bring our attention to Caleb. So I want to ask Caleb, do you feel that there was any part of the journey that was very tough and very challenging for you, and then why?
Oh, the tough part. I think one of the biggest challenge is getting the product market fit for Singapore. I think the biggest challenge is that the our education system here, right, is doing a good job in that sense, that any innovation that comes in, you have a few key challenges. Number one, talents, because if we want to get a technology team in, how do we attract them? How do we fund them? Fund those. And then on the business development side, we invested in a startup, and then I was basically in charge of client acquisition, building business.
Wait, this is after Leva, right?
So this is after Leva. So the challenges are similar in that.
I think we need to give a bit of context before he goes on to this other startup that he joined. Right, so this because this was in 2020 already. So 2020 was the start of the pandemic already. So what happened was that the three of us, right, we actually kind of founded this startup called Leva, and we were working a lot of things. We were trying to do fundraising. We were meeting a lot of fun people, interesting people. We were meeting CEOs of various other startups. It was very, very fun. It was very interesting, and we all got very caught up in that. And then I think Caleb introduced us to this guy. This guy, he's a guy who was from one of the top tech company lah. So we're not gonna name which one lah.
I think two. Right? He worked in the two of them.
Yeah, he worked in two of the top tech companies lah. So and he had a very senior position. So when the three of us met him, Okay, and realized that he was doing the same exact thing that we were doing, but he was a little bit more advanced than us. He was one step more advanced
Probably
than us.
5 years ahead of us.
Okay, five steps ahead of us.
Confirm at least 5.
Right,
Not
so
5, 10.
the moment I met him, so I told the two of them, say, hey guys, I'm out. I'm out of this, right?
Why is that? Why is that?
Because to me, this journey was a very, very difficult one, and the opportunity cost was very high. And I recognize that if you realize that you're not going to be able to compete with the people that are around you, right? Then there's no point. Like it's not wasting your time. Okay, you must know when to get out. So for me, that particular point, the first meeting that I met him,
You just say so.
I just say, hey guys, I think. I'm going to call a day, right, and going to focus back on my regular business as opposed to working on a startup. Okay, I think the two of you kind of felt the same way, which is the reason why you're joined.
I joined them. So if we cannot fight them, we join them. But the thing is,
that was our thinking. Yeah,
that was our thinking. But I think for me, I'm in a very different position because
we call it Startup X. So we shall call this Startup X.
Different position because at that time my repertoire of questions, digitized questions, we have a lot. So I think the content base is something which I think I do not want to spend time to create another platform. So I might as well just use, since there's this platform out there, we'll just try and use it lah. Yeah. So without but there are a lot of other platforms out there as well. But theirs is like top notch. It's like really good. So I'm like, okay, we'll just try using the content, and I think they also see the value in my content. Yeah, so that's why I'm thinking like, okay, it's a sort of a symbiosis, right? Like it's a system where we sort of can work some stuff out now. So that's why I think that's the reason why he chose me in. Yeah, really invite me in. Yeah.
But I think Kok Kun was the one that really started working in this startup. Maybe you can share a bit of your experience working in Startup X.
It's very interesting. I think in a sense, we put in some money.
I put more money than you. Shaq.
Yeah, that's something that. Anyway, yeah. So that was it was interesting because of course the team was in a remote position. That's June 2020. Okay, by this time that's where we are at, and everybody was working remotely. So I had a glimpse of how fast-paced startup looks like. You have a full engineering team, you have a full product, you have a product manager, you have marketing, you have designers. So you were talking about, maybe from the time I joined there were like 15 people. By the time I left, in about 4 to 6 months, it was about close to 100 people by that time. And then there was a large remote team in a country near us that helped digitize our platform. So I was able to experience what it would have been like if we knew what we were doing in Singapore. So the comfort is that if we had done at that kind of scale and the kind of fundraising, we probably are still right now stuck in the startup and trying to find that product market fit. So I think the challenge is for startup has always been this idea of cold start, getting enough traction in the getting early adopters. So that was my experience working with the different subject matter experts here locally, getting them on board to try and see whether this platform can make a difference in the subjects they're offering. It's an interesting journey. I got to see how updates, like go through the meetings and the kind of onboarding of new clients and all that in the entire journey. So I don't think anything was ever wasted. I just felt that we each took a lot of lessons from
yes, definitely. Yeah. So after a while, I left. Yeah. Then realized it's not working out for me. Then he continued working. I remember there was this point of time he was like losing hair.
Oh, it's dropping hair.
My goodness. He was like, hey bro, I tell you I think I cannot tahan already. I said, you can one lah. If you cannot tahan in Singapore, who's gonna tahan?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. It was a red patch here and then a lot of hair on the floor. So that was, but you just imagine, this is just me doing a local market, not very big actually. If you look at the Singapore market, the number of addressable clients, right? But the founder had to do a lot more, like a lot more. So that was eye-opening, right? And something I was able to have a startup experience, so to speak, although at Proxy, without having to be stuck inside. Should it not work out? Yeah, that was precious. I felt that for all it's worth, the tuition fee wasn't too heavy. You know, like
Correct.
the amount of time and the money sunk in, and probably other people's money, right? That you have to deal with, to be responsible to generate a return for is heavy responsibility.
No, it's not.
But it can still be very demoralizing. Cause I remember the first year that we were doing this, right, 2018, right?
Yeah.
So one of these ideas that we had was that we feel that this was gonna be the future. We are certain that it was gonna be the future. We are certain that online Zoom learning, right, was gonna be the future.
Yeah, we were just delusional.
So in 2018, right, so I was talking to the two of them and said, hey, I'm very certain that this thing is gonna work out. That Zoom is gonna work out. Like, how can it not work out? It just makes sense. Right, so I invested equipment. I spent, don't know, hundreds or even maybe thousands of hours practicing in front of camera.
Yeah.
Still didn't get very good at it, but you should have seen my first few videos.
Yeah.
And then I even flew to freaking New York to go and film like a launch video.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then for that $100,000 that I spent, right? You guess how many students on Zoom did I acquire for the entire year?
How many?
So for perspective, right, my total number of students per year is around 200. Okay, so how many of that 200, right, did Zoom? So they sign up as a Zoom student. You make a guess?
Probably about 10% of it.
10%.
Yeah.
10%. I had 3.
Oh.
I had three students sign up for Zoom. I was like, hey, this is not working out. Why are students reluctant to go on Zoom?
This is before
why they
COVID.
just won't, huh?
This is before COVID.
This is before COVID. This was in 2018.
Right. I think we all agree after COVID there's a mindset change, right? Like if you were to do it now, probably.
No, the parents, right, they were just the hardest to convince. Like even if the students say, yeah, don't mind, then the moment the parent comes in, right, the parent say, huh? Online can learn meh? Can learn one rubbish. How can you learn on Zoom?
Correct.
So they just fixated on this idea that learning must take place
Physically,
in the four walls of a classroom. So yeah, it didn't work out for us. But hey, you all remember the moment, that very moment, right? That government announced that we were going to go HBR home-based learning. You remember that day?
Yes.
How all over the island, all the tuition centers panicked.
Yeah.
How was it like for you guys?
There's a shortage of like all the. You remember the webcam became very expensive.
Yes.
And all
Yeah.
Yeah,
The streaming equipment, the laptops were running out of stock. Printers, because the parents were swiping everything on all the stores to print worksheets.
What did we have? We had studio quality microphones.
Lights, we have
we had
microphones,
lights,
we had
the software,
Yeah.
we had the learning management system.
Yes.
Then,
overnight.
Then overnight, it's really there. It's really in the freaking classroom.
already set up, like trying that. It's just that it just probably like initially the student weren't using that, the online portal wasn't like used, or like it's like probably 10% usage. But then when COVID hit, then it's just the inverse. Yeah. 90, 10 kind of. So it wasn't too difficult for us to swap to online because we were already doing the digitization part.
Yeah. So to me, sometimes like we thought that this is kind of like a failed startup experience. Like waste money, like waste time, waste money. Then, but the moment COVID hit, right, then you realize that I'm uniquely prepared for this. Like the moment COVID hit. And then MOE say, hey, y'all go HBL now, cannot do any other things. Hey, all the systems all ready to go. Right? Okay lah, good lah. So I felt very relaxed that day. Like, hey, not very chiong. Like, I must go and panic and do all the things. So I was like, hey, we already have all things, nothing much to do. So I was helping my wife to set up for her primary school because she didn't have all these things ready lah. So I was helping that. I was busy with that instead.
Yeah, I was helping my secondary school's batch because I think for my center, I personally just teach the H2 math classes, the cohort. So the second, because okay, sorry to say for JC students, I actually do a lot of experimentation on this JC batch because I feel that they are more mature and they can take their learning. They take charge of their own learning, right? So when the HBL thing comes about, I had to set up for the secondary school part, but it wasn't a lot also, yeah. The secondary school cohorts, yeah.
So at this point in the video, I'm gonna ask everyone, if you find that the content that we're producing is interesting and you would like to see more of such content, please like our video and also follow us on our social medias. Okay, right. We'll continue and ask both Caleb and Tim, right? If you had one piece of advice, right, to give to anyone, right, who wants to go on this startup journey, right, what will you give? What will you tell them? Something useful that they will be able to make use of, right, if they were going to go on a startup journey. What is your takeaway from this whole thing?
Try to get a job in a startup. You get to learn a lot of things. Yeah, you don't have to. I mean, you can start if you know exactly what you're doing, but you can pick up a lot from seeing how the founders and the startup team, be the first few employees. Even if the pay isn't exciting, but you get to learn so much because you have to do a lot of things beyond the job scope. If you work in a normal corporate job as a startup like employee, right, it's so much different because you have to do everything here and then you learn really, really fast.
Yeah,
that's my biggest advice. Yeah.
I think my biggest advice would be just remain teachable in everything that you do, especially in the startup culture. Yeah, just learn as much as you can, just like what Caleb had shared. Yeah.
Okay, for me, I feel like my biggest advice to everyone is that if you want to start a startup, right, I think there are two phases where you can start. One is that you have no liabilities, no family, no wife, no husband, no children. When got nothing, okay, then you go and start because your opportunity cost is very low.
Yes.
Right. So you can throw everything you have into the startup. Right. So I guess if you're gonna do that, you have to be damn bloody young.
Yeah.
Right. So if not, right, I think there's another phase of life that you can do it, which is that you are financially secure.
Yeah.
So like you know that your family is taken care of, like money wise, no problem. Right? You have made your first bucket of gold and you're ready to say I'm not gonna work. I'm just gonna go and pursue this startup. Right? If you're in between, right, you already have like a career that works for you, right? Well, it's just tough lah. It's just impossible to go and do this.
Because the amount of effort put it in, you can't really see it. Like the result is not immediate, right? Yeah, and you don't even know whether it's just a lot of uncertainties.
Okay, right. So I hope you all enjoyed this episode, this very first episode of Dollars, Dreams, and Diapers. Okay, so we thank Caleb and Tim Gunn for appearing on our episode today.
Yay.
We hope to see more of them in the future.
Of course. Please
Bye-bye.
Bye.